What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Digital Art with Jesus Conde. Today we're going to be drawing this sci-fi soldier. I didn't record the traditional drawing part because I was in another place where I couldn't record it, but it's basically the same process I've been doing lately for every video. But I thought it would be cool just to skip that and go with the line art and then applying some values. You guys seem to like that more than just drawing. So right now what I'm doing is just adding the a little bit more of detail, if you can call it that, because it's really sketchy. That's the way I like to do the line arts, at least when it's organic kind of things like characters or creatures or something like that. When it comes to vehicles, I tried to do it like this once, and it doesn't really look like it doesn't look like it fits the theme with vehicles, because everything is supposed to be super slick and very straight lines. So this kind of approach doesn't work too well. That's why you guys see the videos that I've been uploading lately. I've been changing the approach. All the videos are slightly different in terms of the way that I work, because I'm trying to find an approach that allows me to be creative and fast at the same time, which is sometimes feel like it's impossible, at least in the detailing part. The sketching part is the most fun for me, because it's very creative. You're basically trying ideas as fast as you can, and you have a limited size to work with when you're doing it on paper, and that really gives you a lot of it takes a weight off your shoulders. At least in my experience, that's what I feel when I draw in paper. But when it's in digital, I feel like I can do so much that is very overwhelming in terms of the possibilities. So I kind of never fully embrace the creative part when I'm doing it all in digital. So for me lately, I've been doing a lot more drawing on paper, and then if I have to paint it or to add detail to it, I will just scan it and put it in Photoshop and draw on top or paint on top, whatever the case is. So once I got these lines that are more definitive, you can see how I'm jumping from here and there on the drawing. Some parts I'm leaving without detail because I don't want those parts to translate onto the final line art, and I'm trying to keep the ones that I really like, and also adding some that wasn't there before. At the same time, I'm trying to fix mistakes that I've done in terms of perspective or shape, the shapes that I don't like too much. And I thought it will be cool to later add some values to this drawing. So right now I'm just adding more and more detail and maybe a little bit of line weight. Line weight is just making some lines more obscure, how you call it, like darker, and that way you can get a more definition of what you want the people to see when they look at your drawing, have a more definitive shape, and not everything is so loose or light. So you actually kind of deciding what you want people to see more. Then I'm just adding little details here and there that I see that I can put in, like screws or little tiny lines. Right now I started to test some cast shadows on the face, because I thought it would be cool just to try that out, and then I really liked how it was going, so I just continued with it. Basically for this, what I only have to know is where my light is coming from. So right now I just draw a little circle, little sphere on the right, as you can see, and then what I do is try to imagine what will be the shadow of this character from the position of the light in the position of the character itself, what are the shadows that he will be projecting on himself, because some of the stuff is supposed to be casting shadow on himself. We have the cast shadow and we have the object shadow, and you can see how some of, like for example, the chest has a huge shadow, but it's mostly because that shape is already in the dark area. But also, for example, the neck, we have that shadow that is being cast by the helmet, and then we will have another kind of shadow, which is the shadow of the neck itself. So it can look like it's rounded, so it looks like it has a volume. That's another different kind of shadow. So we have to always think about those two. And the way we do it is just trying to imagine what will be, like if this was real, like for example the neck of the soldier would be a cylinder, for example. If this was real and the light was coming from there, where will be the light and where will be the shadow? And if for example, if you put the cylinder on the floor, for example, where will the shadow of that cylinder be? Depending of the position of the light, depending of the size of the light, and and also like the light of the surrounding areas, how much light do we have around. So right now what I'm doing is adding even darker shadows, that is called occlusion. The occlusion shadows are basically where the light cannot get. So for example, a really clear example of this is if you put your hand in a fist, you can see that some parts, you can see that between your fingers, or between the way your hand wrinkles, you have little black lines. That is basically happening because the light cannot get there. That is way too much. The two surfaces or the two objects, in this case your skin wrinkling, is making this how you call that, like the surface of your skin is way too tight, and it's creating this black line because the light cannot get there. So this is actually what I'm doing with these little black spots here and there, even darker than the shadows that I did before. And because I have a black layer on top of everything at 10%, that means that I have a gray, kind of like a gray value on top of everything. I can just paint white on top of all that, and I will get this really nice highlights. Those highlights, depending of what materials you're working on, like what material do you want the stuff to be, you can paint those. For example, in the glass of the helmet, it will have to be very shiny because it's glass, but the shoulder pads, for example, are not so shiny. They're supposed to be more matte, so the highlight will be even softer or like bigger in terms of diameter. But if it's super shiny like the glass, it will be really tiny, even like reflective. You will see the shape of the light reflected on the helmet's glass. So this is it. I hope you like this video, and I will be sharing this in my social media if you would like to see better, not just in this video. Those are my links, Instagram and Twitter. I have a group in Facebook where you can share your drawings and your art and whatever you want to share in terms of tutorial. You can share it on that group. I have a link in the description, so you can go there and just get in and share your art. And I'll be picking the ones that I like. For example, this week I like this one from this girl, and any drawing that I like, I will basically be just putting it on my videos at the end, so other people can see their work. And it doesn't matter if you are like super pro, it doesn't matter if you are just starting. If I like it enough, I will just put it there, or if I believe that it deserves to be shared, it will be there. It doesn't matter if it's a sketch, it doesn't matter if it's a traditional drawing, it doesn't matter if it's digital or not. What I ask is to be original, that is your work, it's not somebody else's work that you copying or something like that, and that will be like the only thing. Also the rules of the group that you can see on the group when you enter. So thank you very much and see you next time.